some stories simply refuse to die. They remain dormant in the background, quietly waiting for the right moment to resurface and catch everyone by surprise. And when they do return to the spotlight, they often bring with them a wave of emotions, memories, and, of course, controversy. That's exactly the kind of situation unfolding behind the scenes at Newcastle United right now. An old target of the club has unexpectedly returned to the radar. But this time, the situation is quite different from how it all began, and that could open up a new chapter full of twists and turns. If you're a Magpies fan and you've been following the club's transfer updates closely, you've probably noticed that the board has been moving very carefully this window. After watching a few potential options slip through their fingers, their attention has turned back to a name that, not too long ago, almost wore the black and white shirt. But why is this story coming back now? What has changed since the first attempt? And more importantly, what could this mean for Newcastle United's attacking plans? Before we dive into the details, here's a quick reminder. If you enjoy exclusive content, insider updates and in-depth information about our beloved Newcastle, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. It really helps our community grow and ensures you never miss an update on what's happening inside and outside St. James Park. Just hit that subscribe button below. It's quick, it's free, and it makes a huge difference. Back to the main topic. Here's the current scenario. The club is carefully evaluating its attacking options for next season, and among the many names on the table, one in particular has re-emerged strongly. The curious thing is, the first time this name was mentioned, everything seemed to be on track. Journalists were confident, mock-up images surfaced, and fans were already imagining how he'd fit into the squad. But then something unexpected happened and the deal collapsed. Now, with new needs and a much more competitive market, Newcastle seems ready to revisit this old chapter. Here's the key point. According to Sky Sports, Newcastle United have reignited their interest in signing Brighton forward João Pedro. The 23-year-old Brazilian, who had a solid season with 10 goals and 7 assists, could now be back on the radar of the Magpies board. The renewed interest follows failed pursuits of Liam Delap and Bryan Mbeumo, pushing the club to explore more versatile and realistic alternatives. João Pedro, who can play both centrally and out wide, fits the profile perfectly. But, as expected, securing his signature won't be easy. Brighton, well aware of the player's market value and his growing potential, are reportedly only willing to let him go for around £59 million. It's a significant figure that reflects both his technical ability and his importance in Fabian Hürzeler's plans. Still, sources indicate that Newcastle are weighing up whether the investment would be worth it, taking into account both his recent performances and his past transfer history. And that's where the story gets even more interesting, and perhaps a bit emotional too. If you're enjoying the video so far, go ahead and drop a like. It lets YouTube know you want more content like this and helps us reach even more Newcastle supporters around the world. And of course, comment below. Do you think João Pedro would be a good addition to our attack? Your opinion is always welcome. Back to the story. João Pedro's case isn't just another transfer rumor. Back in 2022, Newcastle came very close to signing the then Watford player. The talks were so advanced that journalist Fabrizio Romano even gave his iconic "Here we go," and a mock-up of the player in a Newcastle shirt was shared online. Everything pointed to a done deal. But behind the scenes, a dramatic twist changed the course of events. Newcastle opted instead to invest heavily in Alexander Isak, and João Pedro was left behind. That decision, of course, altered both players' paths completely. While Isak went on to become one of the Premier League's top strikers, João Pedro remained at Watford, still seeking his breakthrough, before joining Brighton for £30 million in 2023. And perhaps the most revealing part of it all is that João Pedro himself admitted his frustration with how that 2022 deal turned out. Speaking to Globo Esport last year, the Brazilian opened up about his disappointment. "I had that deal with Newcastle. Months later I was still upset I couldn't leave," João Pedro revealed. "But I told myself, now it's my turn at Watford. I have to make it happen since the transfer didn't work out, and that's exactly what I did." Words that show not only his disappointment, but also his resilience. And maybe that's why a potential reunion between him and the club that nearly signed him carries so much weight today. And if you've made it this far in the video, you're already starting to see how football's behind-the-scenes world is full of surprising twists. So once again, here's the invitation. Subscribe to the channel to stay on top of everything happening at Newcastle with daily updates, analysis, and stories you won't find on traditional sports media. We live this club with you, the fans. But not everything is perfect when it comes to João Pedro's potential return to Newcastle's radar. Despite his undeniable technical ability, the Brazilian also comes with a recent record of disciplinary issues that could influence the board's final decision. In April, for instance, he was sent off after clashing with Brentford defender Nathan Collins, which resulted in a 3-match suspension. And on the final day of the season, he wasn't even included in Brighton's squad to face Tottenham. Why? He reportedly had a bust-up with teammate Jan-Paul van Heck during training, prompting manager Hürzeler to leave him out entirely. These incidents raise questions about the player's emotional maturity and whether he's ready to handle the pressure of a more demanding environment. Still, some believe he's in the process of maturing and that under the structure at St. James Park, with Eddie Howe's guidance, he could grow even further. For many analysts, João Pedro's talent outweighs the risks. But the big question is, does Newcastle's board feel the same way? Keep in mind the transfer window has only just opened, and many twists and turns are still to come in the coming weeks. João Pedro's name is likely to continue being debated within the club and on football talk shows. And you, fan, what do you think about this potential reunion? Would he be the ideal signing to add depth to our attack? Or are the risks too high to ignore? Here's the invitation one last time. If you want to follow every chapter of this saga, every behind-the-scenes move and every development in Newcastle's transfer window, subscribe to the channel now. We'll keep tracking everything with care, accuracy, and the passion that only true fans understand.